Blessings. Today is January 7th, 2025. Exactly 1 year ago, on January 7th, 2024, I said my goodbyes to this world. My loved ones, including my children, my wife, my brothers, and my close friends. I was done. I was out. I realized my ambition. As a child, I remember me and my brothers, Andrew and Jeff. We were very young. We didn't even start high school yet. So we must have been 10, 11, Andrew maybe, 10, me, Jeff maybe 8, somewhere there about. Talking one night in bed about what we'd like to be when we grow up. And we all agreed that we wanted to be a father. Just a great father. That's it. See, we never knew our fathers growing up. I still don't know who my father is. I am going to be 49 years old. I remember the conversation leading to us having 3 houses on the hill because we always figured we'd always be together. That's how we were brought up. And one of us said, why 3 houses? Why not just one big house that we all live in? I realized my ambition. I became a father on August 24th, 2005. Jazara Kaur made me realize my lifelong ambition. On top of that, I was senior finance manager of a public charter school network based in Harlem, New York. I went back home to Jamaica to open a lovely restaurant offering vegan meals to the people from my community of Port Antonio and visitors to my community of Port Antonio, offering employment to the people of my community of Port Antonio. Started a farm in the honor of my beloved grandmother, Doris Winifred Lightbody. I was volunteering as a coach at one of the local high schools in Portland. All things that I had ambitions of doing, I did. I was doing really well too. I had some cash at the time. And then it all started to unravel. It has been unraveling for a while, if I'm to be honest, for well over a decade. See, my dearly beloved grandmother, who was my North Star, or at least one of my North Stars. She fell ill. She started to decline in health. And a lot of things, which I won't get into today, hit me in ways that I never recovered from and I never dealt with. I just kept rolling along. A gentleman said to me once, older gentleman, his name is David Davis. We call him Lime because we used to buy lime from him at the restaurant. I think he also goes by the name Lawwood from up in the Rio Grande Valley. He said to me one day, my little brother, don't kill yourself trying to help yourself, you know. And I said to him, I got this. I thought I got this. I really did think I got it. But I didn't. And in some fell swoop, everything started to unravel. And on the morning of January 7th, 2024, I decided I don't want to go on in this life anymore. My elder flesh, Andrew Collar Edwards, sent a desperate plea in a couple of WhatsApp groups that we were in together, frantically begging for people to come and check on my well-being. Zane, his wife, and Miss Moore came into the room, I remember that. But preceding that, on my way out, my phone rang. My phone rang and I thought to myself, if that is Jazara calling, I wanted to speak to her one last time. I would love to hear her voice. I would love that to be the last thing that I do before I depart. As it turned out, it was my maybe daddy, Anthony Core. And I picked up. Needless to say, I broke down. Told him what was happening. I won't get into all the fine details, but needless to say, I'm here. And Big Ed, Jeremy Spence, my true brother, my real friend, and Marcus Pinner, another brother, another friend. They both came. Big Ed's wife, Monique, was with them. Then Teacher came. Teacher, Karen, and this young lady, Rosalie, was with them. And Teacher hugged me. He hugged me and he said to me, King, I need you. I need you to be here for me. Needless to say that the love, the concern, the care that people started showing wiped away some of that loneliness that I've been feeling. That feeling of it's all done, it's all over, I am used up. And I've of no more use to anyone else, including myself. See, I haven't spoken to anyone in my family for a while before that, including my own kids. All my phone calls went unanswered. All my messages went unanswered. And the way things were unraveling, which I won't get into the fine details in this instance, just left me feeling done. I got a call from my brother, Anthony Pennyhead Nelson, and he said to me, Richie, Juliet wants to talk to you. That's his wife. Would you be willing to talk to her? He said to me, this is what she does. She's into psychiatry. I always knew her to be a nurse, but I didn't know her to be a psychiatric nurse. And I agreed to speak with Juliet. She said she wanted to talk to me on camera, so she set a time for me to speak with her the following Sunday. And we spoke. Lovely conversation. One of the things I remembered from the conversation, Juliet saying to me, Richie, I can't exactly tell you how just yet, but I promise you we will get through this. You hear me? And she went on to lay out her professional background to me. Her personal background I already knew a lot of. She encouraged me back to the States. I was in Jamaica for almost 2 years and encountered some issues. Trying to come back, finding out that there was a warrant out for me that would prevent me traveling back to the US. Oddly and ironically enough, it had to do with child support payments to my daughter. Long story short, I eventually lost my job through my diagnosed mental disability at the time. So my child support payments had stopped, and they had mounted to thousands of dollars, over 5,000 US dollars at the time. I reached out to family and friends, and some people who I'm sure were only too happy to be aware of the situation I was in, that I found myself in. But I had nothing to lose. I had to bear it all. And I cried out for help. And people did help. You know, from Pastor and Cope, who paid the last $3,000 after already paying $500, to everybody in between who paid even up to $5 to help me clear that debt and be able to fly back to the US for treatment. Juliet recommended I flew back to Florida, to an area where they have very good mental health treatment that I could access for free. My sister, Lorraine, Arthurine, who's been there the whole time, picked me up. She actually bought me a ticket, picked me up at the airport, flew me to Juliet's friend, Sharon. Sharon hugged me that night, gave me refuge in her space, set out a treatment plan for me, and gave me this book to read. The Body Keeps the Score. Brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. Very profound along my journey. Learn a lot reading that book about how the body behaves. I'm doing this video, my brothers and sisters, because I find this as a way to reconcile with myself right now. Needless to say, this is very difficult for me in this moment, because as I learned from The Body Keeps the Score, the body does keep a score, and as much as I try to move forward, and I do believe that I am moving forward, I can't help but go back to a year ago today and the circumstances leading up to a year ago today. But I am better off dealing with it now for all the circumstances that have come together and helped me to this space. And I'm not talking about just the physical space that I'm in, but the spiritual enlightenment that I've found and accepted and become assured of. The people that I decided to trust, that is very important. Being able to trust and having people that love and care for you. Some of those people who've been there from those events a year ago, most of them are people that have frankly been in my life before that, but since then, with such an impact, a profound impact and lasting impact, and are there. Some of those people are the same people that I emailed up to yesterday to say, hey, listen, I'm having a really tough go at it. And these are people who have their expertise in this field of psychiatry professionally. These are people who are just spiritually great black kings and queens. These are people who are, just guides to me, who love and care for me. And these are the people that I trust and have in my corner who have helped me through here. So one of the big reasons I'm doing this is because I know that there are a lot of people who are suffering and have suffered similar circumstances to what I've suffered and I'm suffering, and may not know how to get through it, may not necessarily have the resources, the people around them like I was fortunate enough to have had. And I want to say to those people that if you live, you have to continue living. To quote a line from my dear friend Sizzla Kalanje. What I'm saying is, my brothers and sisters, my beautiful black kings and queens, is that I've learned from reading. I've done a lot of reading. I'll share some of what I've read with you. This is one that my queen Bridget Birch introduced me to, The Art of Spiritual Healing. And in reading that one, I've come to accept much more that we are, as we always say, spiritual beings having a human experience, but understand more the connection of this human piece of us to our spiritual being. You will find what you go searching for. Your circumstances are definitely what you perceive them to be, because you live them through that perception. Thank you, my brother Robert Barnes, for that. He's one of the real soldiers that's been there, ever present. So we have to put ourselves in that space of thought that says it's okay, it's great, it's wonderful, because it's your perception that drives it all. It certainly is. We do need people. We do need resources to help us through, especially if we're falling to such depths that it's difficult to dig out by yourself. One of the things I've learned, and just to give a little background, I'm a naturalist. I am a homeopathic person. I don't do medication. And when I first got into treatment, when I came back to the US on February 14th of last year, I was fortunate enough, through the connection with Juliet and, Sister Sharon, to meet a psychiatrist, Dr. Phillips. I remember I was nervous, a wreck the first morning I was going. I didn't want to go. I reached out to Juliet and I said, listen, I'm scared. I don't want these people to medicate me. I don't want these people to, put me in some institution. And she said, calm down, my brother Richie. Actually, she didn't get my message until afterwards. And when I went there and I met with the psychiatrist and she started to talk to me, she was really great, I will say. Really, really great. She walked me through what she called a three-pronged approach. After I said to her, listen, I'm a natural homeopathic person. I would rather any treatment you're advising me to or putting me on be natural and homeopathic. And she said to me, listen, in my experience, I've come to find that this works with a three-pronged approach. Medication to correct the balance, lifestyle change to maintain that balance. That's where the homeopathic piece comes in. She's explaining to me in terms of your natural diet, your thought process, the way you behave yourself, and therapy to keep you in balance. I reached out to my trusted sources, my brother Andrew, Juliet, Bridget, and they all agreed that that sounds like a reasonable course of action. So I agreed to take that course of action. They advised that I stay on this medication for at least a year. But what I did straight away was change my lifestyle. It wasn't difficult for me to adjust my diet because I was a very good eater to begin with. I'm vegan, been for a very long time. So adjusting my diet to, cut the salt intake, cut the sugar altogether, pick up my exercise, try to keep myself in good spirits. And if I couldn't do that, reach out to the resources that I had, my trusted people, my Biggets, my Marcuses, my Doris, my Juliet, my Bridget, my Moeen, my Andrew, my Dan D, El King Dan, my sister who's always been in my corner, Brother Bonnie Hamilton that she introduced me to from I was back in Jamaica. There's so many of you who've been there for me to help keep me in a good space, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to say to you, my brothers and sisters, if you're there suffering, please reach out to someone, trust someone. I know we grew up in a space where it says they want to trust nobody, rude boy. That is not beneficial to us, especially in times of need. We have to trust someone. We have nothing to lose when we're in a certain space. Another one of my readings that Juliet recommended, it's called this little book of relaxation. It's just a book with little pick-me-ups, but they're great. And I could just turn to a page and just read. It's just little sayings like this. Just for doing it, this says, you can't calm the storm to stop trying. You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself. The storm will pass. Now we might say, oh, it's apt, I just jumped to that page. I didn't intend to jump to that page, but everything in this book is along that line of train of thought, those words. One of the books that I read as well is the Blue Zones Challenge. I was less than a chapter into this book when I started reaching out to family and friends and saying, hey, you guys have to read this book. I recommend that book because it traces people who have lived to 100 years or more in different parts of the world, 4 parts of the world, in Japan, in Italy, in Costa Rica, in California, and there's a 5th place, and in Greece, 5 blue zones. And these people all have certain common traits. Most of them, they just move. They do natural things. They do the things the Rastaman have been doing and has been encouraging us to do. They live naturally off of the earth. They move, they commune with each other. They meet and greet and speak to each other. And they drink wine. They drink red wine, a glass each night with dinner. So again, my brothers and sisters, I am suggesting that you reach out to someone for help. Listen, I've walked this walk and I'm still here. I am going to be here. I chose to stay here. And it's difficult. I'm not going to pretend it's not difficult, especially when days like today come around. Especially when thoughts of my daughter comes around. But this, I'm not even going to say it's my Bible. This is my guide. It's been for decades. This is the oldest book that I currently have, I believe. My queen, Marcia, got me this book. Maybe from back in high school. Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. Garvey was right. Garvey is right. And Garvey will always be right. Everything we need to know to get through life, my black kings and queens, Garvey has prepared us for. That's my little Jazara. Well, she's not so little anymore. She's going to be 20 years old. The hardest part of this for me is missing her. Is the fact that we are not even in communication with each other. I cannot explain why. I don't know why. But that is my greatest ambition taken away from me. Or, let me not say taken away from me, lost. However, as I said, it's your perception. So I know it's momentarily. And because we talk about the insignificance of this physical being and the significance of the spiritual being, I am certain that Jazara, and she has a copy of this. I gifted her a copy of this a long time ago, from she was in high school. So I'm sure she's connected. I'm sure she's spiritually grounded. And I'm sure she will find her way. And I will have more than just this of hers to hold on to cherish, to look at, to love, to kiss, to talk to. It's not easy. It's really difficult, but it's not impossible. And we are a resilient being. We are much more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. We are great. We're super great. We're greater together. We're more impactful together. But it is all up to me. One of the last books that I've started reading is from my dear sister Esther. It says My Ultimate Self, and she talks about how death became my motivator. And she was referring to death that was happening around her and preparing herself for her own mortality. A lot of people might think that's strange, really, how death can be your motivator. I know it's not strange, because I'm here a year after attempting to take my own life, feeling much more assured, learned, experienced about life, what life is, how life is. My great King Dandy, Dr. Iman Block, used to ask me when I was much younger, who are you? I would tell him my name, I would tell him my profession, I would tell him the things I do, and he was like, no, that's your name, no, that's what you do. Who are you? I later on, and exactly now, especially now, understand, overstand that question and can confidently answer that. I am the spirit of Marcus Garvey, of Haile Selassie, of Kwame Nkrumah, of Jomo Kenyatta, of the Mansa Musa, of my sister Granny Nani, of Empress Menen, of Doris Lightbody, of my brother Oriel Dunstan. The same spirit that resides in my brothers Andrew and Jeff. The spirit of my ancestors guides me, resides in me. I am a spiritual being, responsible for the perpetuation of my ancestral lineage, my royal ancestral lineage. I live, so I've got to continue living. I want to help my brothers and sisters who may be struggling to continue to live. I want to serve as an example from the things that I've been through, that I've put myself through, that I've put people through, the people who were around me that suffered from the sufferings that I was suffering from. because of their association with me, because of the love that they gave to me, the time that they gave to me. Empaths bear that. An Empath's Guide to Survival is another one that Juliet gave me to read, where we understand that you take on the feelings, the sufferings, the pain, and also the joy of the people that you surround yourself with. So I know a lot of people are hurted from being around me during my time of hurt. I want to turn that around. I have turned it around for myself, or I'm turning it around with the continued help of the people who love me, protect me, are there for me, with the things that I've learned through Dr. Phillips, through Sharon, through Juliet, through Bridget, through Robert, through my sister, through the people who have been there for me, from my academy friends and family and players and parents of our Jazz Soccer Academy in New Jersey, to friends I've met along the way who've been a part of this journey with me. I say thank you. Thank you from the deepest depths of my soul, from the highest heights of my spirit. I love you, and I'm truly appreciative of you. We are going to continue to help our brothers and sisters who are in need. Reach out. And if you don't know who to reach out to, you don't have anyone to reach out to me. I'll do my very best to try to help. It is all up to me. As my sister Juliet would say, take one more step. One more step. Take it. Move forward. We will fall down, but we have the ability to get back up again. It's not linear, she will say to me, Richie. Sometimes you will stop, sometimes you will fall off, but keep going. I love you, my brothers and sisters. Thank you for those of you who literally saved my life. Thank you for those of you who literally gave me a reason to continue going on. I love you. Love somebody. Somebody loves you. Blessed love.